So a very popular YouTuber known as PopularMMOs has actually gotten arrested for domestic abuse. This happened after a 9-month feud between PopularMMOs, aka Pat, and his ex-girlfriend Eleni. Unfortunately, I can't show you much of it because it all comes from videos that are now private. Anyways, in April specifically, Eleni received messages from Pat's current girlfriend claiming that he abuses her, and then not even a month later, Pat actually ended up getting arrested for domestic abuse. Eleni tweeted out the public documents regarding Pat's arrest, and since it contained information that was not known to PopularMMOs viewers, Pat ended up retaliating when he tweeted out, "Don't believe everything you hear. I will need to address the false allegations soon. And Eleni, thanks for leaking my address and harassing me and Liz, when she told you to stop posting about her and you refused," Liz being his current girlfriend. He then adds to the tweet, "Oops, here's yours," and then shows her full address. This was quickly deleted and then replaced with an identical tweet, except this time without the docs, and the addition of, "You are a terrible person." Okay, the last tweet was too much. Kaz responds to Pat by saying, "Her address is already out there? Deleting it does nothing?" Pat responds, "It's not her actual address. Mine is my actual home she posted." Now, despite Pat saying the docs wasn't her actual home address, Eleni says it was when she tweeted out, "In September he doxed my university for millions to see, to the point where I could no longer attend classes at campus due to safety. Now you doxed my home address. Remember, neither my university nor address was public information." Yasmin Robinson responds to her by saying, "Did you or did you not do the exact same thing before he did, only to show his actual address for millions to see?" She responds, "Committed crimes, it goes on public records. He doxed me the first time back in September, for those of you who forget. To be honest, I've ran out of fucks to give, and his scare tactics don't work, just because he's a big scary white man." Eleni also went on the YouTuber 9DH's channel to talk about the situation. Here is what she said.
I know Saturday night he was out at the bars with Ethan actually, and presumably his girlfriend, but she is underage, so I don't know if that was her or not. It kind of looked like her in the picture, but I wasn't sure. But she is underage, so I don't know for sure. But they were at the bars Saturday night, and then Sunday morning, early morning hours, obviously, he was booked and arrested for domestic battery and bodily injury to another individual. And then she ended up being in the hospital for concussion and abrasions. So that's all we really know for sure. But they were both involved somehow. And then he got a bail that he paid, and he's released now. That's what we know.
If you want to see the full interview, the link to 9DH's video will be in the description below. But while all this was going on, Pat's ex-wife, GamingWithJen, ended up liking the first tweet she liked since 2019. The tweet she liked reading out, "Pat abuses women." A couple hours later, she then unlikes that tweet and says, "I do not use Twitter regularly, and when I was messaged about all this drama, I went on to see what was being said. By accident, I liked a tweet that is now being seen in a poor manner. Pat never in the 10 years we were together laid a hand on me. I just want to say this because I feel Pat is being unfairly portrayed. I apologize for adding more smoke to the fire, and I do not want to get involved, but do not believe everything you hear from people who know nothing of the situation." Nova responds to her by saying, "Unfairly portrayed? I mean, Pat did still get arrested for domestic abuse, right? That's not a very unfair portrayal." Jen then responds, "There's two sides to every story. All I can say is from my experience, he is not the violent and abusive person that he is getting made out to be." Later on, Pat tweets out, "Still haven't posted anything because it's so complicated. There are people I don't want to hurt with my response. I've never hurt anyone, but I'd rather take the hate myself. They never tell you how hard it will be to have a job in the public eye." Viper YT responds, "Just do it. We will all be here, even though it may hurt you to hurt some friends along the way. It's best to let everything out." Pat responds, "In life sometimes you must put others before yourself." Beyond the tweets I've already showed you, Pat hasn't said anything further about this arrest, besides indirectly confirming that it happened by saying the address from the arrest was actually his address that got leaked. We also know that this happened because Heavy.com got a bunch of information from the police for their article on this, including Pat's mugshot. The article says, "A police report obtained by Heavy.com says that both Pat and his girlfriend Elizabeth were arrested because they gave opposing stories. Based on the opposing stories and no independent witnesses, both subjects were placed under arrest for domestic battery and transported to the PDTF without incident. Both individuals refused to complete any of the domestic violence paperwork, or provide a written statement, or have their injuries families photographed, the report says. They then show the official statements from the officer who handled the situation. It starts out with him saying, "I responded to 911 in reference to making contact with Elizabeth. I contacted Elizabeth and read her Miranda rights via JSO issued Miranda card. Post Miranda Elizabeth stated," and then all of that has been redacted, then gets unredacted briefly and says, "Rescue responded and bandaged the injuries." So whatever was said in that redacted statement are probably describing the assault, as well as the opposing stories, as after that, it shows the statement about the opposing stories that we read from the article earlier. We also have this statement that reads out, "On May 16th, 2021, at 03:27 hours, I responded to this address in reference to a naked female banging on the front door. Upon arrival, I made contact with Patrick, who was standing outside of his residence. Patrick stated he and his girlfriend Elizabeth have been in an intimate relationship for approximately 3 months. And have resided together in the home for a few weeks. Tonight, Patrick stated the two were drinking and got into an argument," and redacted. Patrick stated Elizabeth got into her vehicle and left and was unsure where she went. Patrick stated Elizabeth is bipolar and acts this way very often. However, he never calls the police. I read Patrick his Miranda rights via card. Post Miranda, Patrick stated, and then that's redacted. It then says Patrick invited the officer into his residence to observe the damage, and then there's more redacted statements. Whether that damage is to Elizabeth or himself or something in the house, we really don't know. But we might be able to get a little more insight onto what possibly happened by seeing how Pat allegedly treats other women. Because as I mentioned earlier, Eleni did share a statement from Pat's current girlfriend Elizabeth on her Twitter. It starts out with her saying, "He fucking whipped me with a belt in front of his friends and was slapping my ass, treating me like an object with the belt. It left a big bruise on my thigh, but he didn't whip me just once. And it was really hard, of course. And I was running away from him while he was doing it, but his excuse is he was drunk and doesn't remember it. And then got me a car, as if he could buy my love. It's fucking horrible. And now I'm finding all this out. It makes sense he's been doing all that with me too. And he has less shame in it as time goes on. Because he literally told me a lot of messed up things, not caring about how it would make me feel. Almost like he wanted to hurt me all along, and make everything seem all nice. But then he cut himself recently, and I just can't do it anymore. The girl better not be Katie, because they acted like they've never done anything, but yet I felt a vibe. This is a mess. Just wow." Eleni responds, "I know 3 other women that he's treated horribly and done similar stuff to." Eleni follows us up by tweeting out, "I love how I am psychotic because his ex-girlfriend reached out to me and told me how PopularMMOs beats and abuses her. Patrick, your logic makes no sense. Don't you think it's inappropriate to lay your hands on a woman? Guess not." So Pat tweets a complete and utter lie. His girl reached out to me to confide in me about how I was treated because she has made physical abuse allegations. He since deleted that tweet because I showed receipts of the truth. She then shows Twitter DMs between her and him. It starts out with her saying, "I clearly remember you cornering me in that swing, screaming at the top of your lungs, and spitting in my face." Pat responds, "You don't remember it at all then. I went up and said fuck you after all the terrible things you said to me. I didn't yell it either. And I've never spit in anyone's face in my life, lol." 5 hours later, he then responds, "I deleted it because I don't want the drama. But please, you really don't know what I'm going through and what's going on. I never touched her or did anything bad to her. You shouldn't even be talking to her. There's no good to come from it for either of us." Eleni continues tweeting when she says, "For all of those new here, let it be known Pat began this Twitter fight by publicly spreading inaccurate information and once again name-calling. I'm not the reason for his relationship problems. The alleged hand behind the belt is," showing a tweet from PopularMMOs that says, "He's not my boyfriend. We are just dating. She's not my psychotic ex. She's just talking bad about me to my new girlfriend behind my back." Eleni then shows text messages between her and Pat and captions it by saying, "Just a tiny bit of how he speaks about women and his exes. How come he always has negative things to say about all of his exes?" It starts out with Pat saying, "I forgot how much I hate spending time with Jen. I am not really enjoying this trip, lol. I wish I stayed home. She gave our fucking house keys to some black guy." Eleni responds, "What, lol? Why does she do that?" He responds, "She was wasted." The next set of texts start out with Pat saying, "Jen is the laziest person in the world. Of course she never cooked. She made me cook even when I was sick." These next set of texts start out with Pat saying, "I don't want people to take advantage of me." Eleni responds, "What you can do about it is stop keeping trash people who you think might be using you in your circle." Pat responds, "You are right, but it's hard to tell, you know?" Eleni responds, responds, I'm over here being 100% real with you, and I get called horrible things online, like gold digger, and then they idolize your friendship with people that you think might be using me. People are so blind to it. Pat responds, I know. Jen has always used me too, for sure. Eleni then continues commenting on this on Twitter by saying, funny he accuses Jen of using him. He name calls saying she is lazy, and not to mention how he hates spending time with Jen. They are not so close and best friends as Pat says, allegedly. I wonder how he will manipulate her to get himself out of this one. Just logged back into Twitter today, and people didn't believe me when I was silenced the first time. She then shows more DMs from Pat. It starts out with her saying to him, again, for the third time, leave me alone. Pat responds, not a threat for you, just trying to help you. We can meet up and work it out if you want, I don't care. I don't even hate you. I just don't want all this drama online. I will give you 24 hours to take down the personal conversations. After that, I will have a lawyer handle the situation. Neither Liz nor I want the conversations online. Please do the right things. I don't have any videos up of you anymore. I'm giving you time out of respect before making it a legal issue. I don't care about me, but you were hurting people I care about by posting those online. And that's about it for everything with popular MMOs so far. Some pretty insane accusations and damning messages there. Anyways, if I get more information on this story, I will be sure to update you in a new video, so be sure to subscribe with notifications on if you don't want to miss that. Thank you so much to my channel members for supporting the channel, in particular Scrubby, who has donated $100 a month. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.